Today we're going to be checking out the White Mountain National Forest in New Hampshire. It is truly a beautiful place and really worthy going to see. There are so many things to see and do. We were there all day, but you could spend weeks here because there are so many trails and beautiful waterfalls and forests and historical sites. It's just quite lovely. Well, to start with, we went to the ranger station. It's called the Saco Ranger Station. We got our maps and everything. I do suggest that when you come here, you do that. It's right outside of Conway, just as you get on the highway. And the highway is called the Kankamagus Highway, which is named after the last Sagamong, who was a great chief. He was at war a lot of the times. It was around 1684, and the white men kept coming in and out in their boats and on land and trying to settle, and he tried to make peace, but they weren't having it so much. So after about 7 years of bloodshed, finally these Indians moved, they think, into Canada or the northern parts of New Hampshire. But the first place we went was Swift River, which is what you're seeing right here. It's quite lovely, and many people before us were there. You can see how they like to put the little rocks all together just to prove that they went out that far. It can be a little tricky, especially if it's wet and slippery, to climb on the rocks to go on out through the Swift River, but it wasn't that difficult. I'm crazy about waterways, so I had to take a lot of pictures, of course. But it's truly a beautiful river and goes on, and there's many places you can go bathing. This one in particular, maybe wading would be about it. As we moved on and went on down the road, because of course this highway is 34 miles long, but there's plenty of overlooks and lovely places that you can get out and enjoy. This was a beautiful covered bridge. Well, you can do one-way traffic only by car, and the cars can go through here and turn to the right and continue on to the little town of Albany. And this was built just so that people could get to Albany, because before that this bridge was built, the poor townspeople had to spend 3 hours on a stagecoach just to get to the market. So you can imagine they probably did that every few months, because it was a whole day, 3 hours going into town and get the stuff for a few hours and then come back. And it was probably not very comfortable on the dirt, rutty roads. So it was wonderful that they made this for them, and now we can use it to get to the trails, because also you can trail to the right or the left. Then the next place we went was called the Rocky Gorge, and what a beautiful place the Rocky Gorge is. As you can see, there's so many people that were enjoying themselves and bathing, and the water wasn't that cold. The day was really hot. It was about 85 degrees, but so fresh and so crystal clear. I just can't get over how clear the water is, but then I'm used to living in Florida, and usually it's kind of this like thick green stuff there. But here it's just golden, and you can see all the way down clearly to the bottom. Very refreshing, full of waterfalls, and you can see a lot of people were having fun. The young kids were like jumping in off of boulders, and everybody was having a great time. Lots of picnickers out there. So this is called the Rocky Mountain Gorge Lower Falls, and it has a pavilion, and there's a viewing platform, lots of picnic tables. There's no one fishing or anything. It's mostly just families enjoying themselves, and people from all over. It was quite amazing. Just as many, I felt like there were just as many foreigners as there were U.S. citizens here enjoying the day. So this, as you can tell, this park and the White Mountains is loved by everyone, and they just wait for this time of year so they can come and enjoy it. And same with us. It's really beautiful. Then the falls we continue on, as you can see. This is also part of Swift River, and this had a lot of different beautiful angles to it. Many waterfalls. It is really a lot more walking on the Rocky Mountain part here, and on the other side it opened up wide into the river. If you walked a little bit more up the hill, then you go over this bridge, and the bridge had an incredible view down below and across, and there was like a lookout place that you could enjoy also. Lots of people were doing that. We certainly did. And if you continued walking up that hill, you know, you cross the bridge and go to the lookout, and then you continue on this trail. The trail will take you up and about to a really nice little lake. And the lake was full of all kinds of wildlife. You can hear the frogs all chirping. There many times a year you can see the ducks and the geese, and a lot of times there's beaver or otter, and sometimes you might see an occasional moose. So it was very enjoyable to go up there. That hill, you cross this, as you go across it where we're going to the pond, it's called the Kankamagus Ski Trail, and in the winter that's where the trail starts so that people can start the skiing, which in the summer, for me, is very hard to even imagine. This beautiful place completely covered in snow. But I'm sure it happens, and probably for about 6 months out of the year. But right now, just looking at it the way it is, it's absolutely gorgeous. And here we're up by the pond, and I'm taking a little rest after that trail walk. And as you can see, there are still a little bit of black flies, but they weren't too bad. Usually when it gets about 85 degrees, the flies start coming out. But something I've learned about them is that if you don't move, they kind of leave you alone. It's when you start walking that they all start flocking around you. But if you stop, then they just seem to go away for some reason. This is as you can see, the wildlife that's in the lake there. Lots of turtles, and they have lots of fish. And it's a really nice place just to sit and enjoy. Ouch. And this is the upper part of the Rocky Gorge that we were just at. We were at the lower falls and we came on up the path. It's very green. And there's a trail that goes all the way around this lake if you wanted to do the trail. And that way you can get a chance maybe to see the otter and the moose and some beaver, which would be very nice. We didn't have that much time, unfortunately. We just got to rest a little bit here, and then we followed the trail on down and enjoyed the falls a little bit more before we got back in the car and kept on going. And then we met this lovely couple from Denmark. So they were just trying to explore everything just like us that day. Then we went to this wonderful historical site. It was a house that was built in 1832. The family bought it in 1831, and they made a homestead there. They had several buildings. This is the original home. And actually, it's a rather sad story about the house. It's pretty much in the exact same condition, except they painted it white, but the furniture and everything and the inside is all pretty much the same. Hasn't changed hardly at all. And the sad part of the house of this homestead is that when the wife of the house, her name was Ruth, when she was about 41 years old, her husband came home, had dinner, and they said, well, I got to go out for a little bit, I'll be right back. He left, and he didn't come back, and she put a lantern in the window every night. And years went on, and years went on, and 42 years later, 3 years after she died, then he came back. What happened to him? Nobody knows, but they think he was traveling the world. Here's a lovely woman that we met. She was doing the gardening, taking care of this place. We'll listen to what she has to say now.
I don't. Squash, pumpkin, watermelon didn't want to take this year, so you know what?
And over there, what do you call it? Onion?
Oh, scallions.
It's scallions.
Leeks, yeah.
Oh, they're leeks.
A big scallion.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
What is that black flower behind you?
That's hollyhock.
I've never seen a black flower.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Black hollyhock.
What are those things there that are like orange? They look like lilies or irises.
It is. It's a daylily.
Daylily.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those since here either.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
They're so tall.
Garlic, potatoes. We got turnip, beets, carrots.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good.
Everything is going up good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got stuff in late. It's coming up.
Yeah.
Well, I like everything to look lush later in the summer anyway.
It will.
It was so hot in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Unseasonably.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Yes.
We were shocked.
Yeah.
We were here to avoid that. after that lovely conversation with the lady doing the garden, we saw the rest of the homestead, checked out the barn, and looked at the cemetery that was the family cemetery, and ran into somebody that her descendants were still there, and she was setting flowers at the grave. I thought that was really incredible, actually. But we came to this beautiful place, and it's called the Sabado Falls, and it's quite lovely. They say that it's got about 75 feet of elevation here where the falls start coming down, but this is the trail that we took to get to the falls, which was very invigorating. It's a simple trail, as you can see. It's flat and easy, and anyone can go on it. Even if you had a wheelchair, you could go on it until you get to the stairs. The stairs will take you up to the falls if you want to do that. But before then, we were down in the lower part of the falls, which is this part right here. And you can see the view that you got there. This poured down lovely into a large, lake area that just kept on going. The river flowed. This water is so clear. Look at that. That is crystal. I just love it. So beautiful. And it was very refreshing because it was a little bit of a hot day. But it was quite enjoyable in every way. Now, in this particular pond here, they don't allow any swimming, so we didn't see any of that. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure people would have been taking their clothes off and doing it like they were doing at the Rocky Gorge. See up there, you can see the Passover. It's a little bridge that you can go up the trail that takes you to that bridge, and then you can see it from a different point of view. The nice thing is that you need several different levels of point of view so that you can see this whole fall, because it kind of twists and turns as it comes down the hill. The reason why it's called the Sabado Falls is because originally, when the people that were building this, they had the day off, and it was for the Sabbath day, is what it meant. And they said that the ones that were clearing the path, they were actually going to put asphalt down. They were going to make this into a road, but at the end, just before the winter started, the people that were working on it, they took their tools, they hid them, they went back down, and I guess somebody, whoever it was that was financing it, decided that they couldn't finance it anymore, so they never even came back. What was done is what was done, and it stayed like that. So it was a long Sabbath day, and it ended up with that name sticking to the Sabado Falls. But as you can see, it is really, really beautiful. At the top of the trail, where you can see the very top of the falls, it continues on with the river, or you can take a path that goes around and continue on. Once you're at the top, it's about 500 feet to go down to the bottom of the falls, and there's a wading brook, and you're allowed to wade in that part. Just like the Rocky Gorge, there were many families there. We ran into people that were from many different countries. I hear lots of people that were speaking Portuguese, and they had the accents from Brazil, so I know that they were out there enjoying themselves. And I think that's pretty great, because here it's so refreshing, it's so different compared to being in the tropics, right, which is very hot all the time. So I know that they were really getting a kick out of it. So many kids, and it was just a lovely day for everyone. And this also, like the other places, had tables that you could come and have picnics if you wanted to do that. Then we continued on down the road to a beautiful overlook that you could see many things. It was called Sugar Hill Overlook. It looks out towards the northeast part of New Hampshire. Here you can see great views of the Owl Cliff, Mount Tremor, and Bear Mountain, and at the end there is Sugar Hill Mountain. It was such a perfectly beautiful day. The skies were just lovely. We haven't had so many good days. The 3 days before this it was raining, and now it just all cleared up. But what a fantastic view. And then we continued on to the next place, which is called Lincoln Woods. It had a very nice parking place, lots of spaces for everyone, but we decided to park along the road so that we could come in across the bridge on the highway and get shots in both directions, because as you can see, there are some great shots there, and everybody was out bathing and enjoying the heck out of themselves. And there in the back you can see the extension bridge that everybody needs to go on, which is right here, that suspension bridge. In this area, in Lincoln Woods, there's a ranger station. It's actually a log cabin, and it's called the Log Cabin Ranger Station. It's really nice, and this place is just full of trails. When you go to the end of the bridge, you can take trails from the left to the right, and they continue for miles. There's even one from the Rocky Gorge where we were before, miles away, that will continue here. A lot of people that we run into were backpackers, and some of them you could tell have been camping the night so that they can do the trails all around this area. You might as well take advantage of it because summertime is so beautiful here, and there's not so many times a year that you could actually enjoy getting into the water. So once you get to the other side of the bridge, there's where the ranger station is, and there's lots of information posted that'll tell you about things you might need to know if you wanted to camp, and give you a little bit of history about the area. And it was really quite beautiful. Yeah, as you can see, the paths they're flat and they're wide and they're very comfortable, but there are some strenuous areas, so you kind of have to check out the map and see where you're going. It's huge. This area is called the Kankamagus Wilderness Area, and they have an alpine terrain. They'll go all the way up to the Franconia mountain range, which is 5,261 feet. So let me tell you, it just goes on, but it is really breathtaking every step of the way. And then we decided we would go the next 4 to 5 miles to Lincoln, which is a nice little town, and definitely it's a town for skiers, snow skiers in the winter. We had a great lunch. We ate at the El Mariachi. It was a wonderful restaurant, and we were starved, so it was good. And then we came to this place called Hancock Overlook, which is so beautiful. Spectacular views of the Osceola Range. It really reminded me of Venezuela and El Avila. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's such a clear day that you could really see 4 miles, and I just loved it. It's one of my favorite overlooks of all of them. We really enjoyed every bit of this mountain, whether the trails or the waterfalls and the wonderful views. Life is an adventure and the world is huge, so subscribe today and join us as we explore and share it with you.